Hello everyone, Jackie Edwards here. Welcome to the Women Power Wealth Show. Now today I've got a super special guest and she is going to be talking all about money, all about wealth. We're going to talk about making an impact. So I would like to introduce Suzy Ashworth, and yeah, I'll hand it over to you if you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me, Jackie. I really appreciate it. My name is Suzy Ashworth. I'm a mum of three and I'm a seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm a quantum transformation and embodiment coach, and I help female entrepreneurs create six-figure breakthroughs in their business fast. That's my jam.
Awesome. And I think you did stuff before you became a coach as well, building businesses. Do you want to share a little bit about that at all?
The beginning was working in Pizza Hut in a city in Canterbury, and my foster mother passed away, and that was a real wake-up call for me, because at that point in time my ambition was to become the manager of Pizza Hut. And when she left us, it was really like, this life is short and I don't think this is your destiny. And so I packed up my bag and I went to Ibiza, and Ibiza changed my life. Ibiza was the place where I was like, oh, there are people coming here from all over the world. They're going, they're going to India in the winter, they're doing Ibiza in the summer, they're going to Malaga, they're going to all of these places. And I was like, wow, there's a whole big wide world out there. And so from Ibiza, I went to Amsterdam, and Amsterdam, I went to Thailand, and then Thailand, I went back to Amsterdam. So I had 4 crazy years of travel where I took the skills I'd started learning in Pizza Hut, so selling, and I got numerous sales jobs around the world. And then when I finally came back to the UK, I got myself a job in advertising. So I am really, really passionate about feeling confident when it comes to talking about your worth, talking about the value of your products and services, and really being able to sell yourself on what it is that you have to offer.
Yeah, that's such an important skill. And I think it's one that women, I mean, almost everybody has some problems with it, but women especially feel really nervous and scared about selling themselves. And especially they tend to really undervalue themselves and really doubt their worth. Do you see that a lot as well?
I see that in 95% of my clients. I think one of the interesting things that I look to do with everybody that I'm working with is separate their personal worth and value from the value of their products and services, because as individuals, we are all priceless and nobody can put a price on me as a human being. What I do and how I serve people and the transformations I help to facilitate, absolutely we can put a value on that, and that's high too.
Yeah.
So but the separating of the two feels very important.
Yeah, because oftentimes when people are selling, their service or their product, they just really struggle to delink that from who they are. And they think, oh, if they don't want to buy this, that means they don't want to buy me and they don't like me. And now I'm the terrible person. Whereas I suppose, because they always tell the story about, the person selling fries at McDonald's, like when you tell him, no, I don't want fries with that, he's not taking that personally, that you're devaluing him and, you speak means you don't like him, that you don't want the fries. But we tend to do that with our products and services as we hold them so closely. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing to make sure we can start to
The
separate
link.
those off.
I think that part of it is when you are selling a personal brand and when you're creating a personal brand, it feels very personal. And to some extent, it is personal. And at the same time, your example with the selling of fries is that it really isn't, because there are 1,000,000,001 coaches out there now. Because of COVID and the pandemic, we're only going to see more and more people entering the marketplace as they get made redundant from their 9 to 5s. We're not supposed to be for everybody. And when we tune into sharing our authentic message and really stepping into our truth, we're supposed to repel people. And
Yes.
somebody being repelled by your message doesn't make you a less valuable individual. It just means that there is a coach that is a better fit out there for
Yeah.
that person. And, that's that. I want people to hear that.
And it's important in every kind of industry or kind of product or service that you're offering is there are enough clients out there in the world. There are enough people out there in the world. There's billions of us. There's enough people to buy your stuff. If somebody doesn't want it, that's okay. It's not right for them. There will be more of them lining up afterwards. And it's really important to focus on the people out there that do want what you want and that do vibe with you and that do have that relationship versus trying to convert the people that don't like you. And I think a lot of us really focus our message on trying to convert those few people out there that maybe aren't the right customer, and we're trying to drag them over to us instead of really focusing our message and what we're doing that's really going to attract the ones that want to work with us and love what we're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We're not in the game of trying to convert people.
Yeah.
Nobody's got time for that. Who's got
Yeah.
time for that?
Yeah, and it has a lot to do with that kind of abundance mindset and remembering that there's so much out there, there's so much opportunity, there's so many things happening that we can just feel that abundance and not have to chase after clients, not have to chase after like the wealth, not have to chase anything really. We can just do what we do, spread our message, share our value, and it keeps coming. At least that's
Yeah,
what I
I
believe.
think the way that I look at it is that when you have a product or a service that you know can change people's lives, it's your duty and your responsibility to share that with as many people as possible. And one of the most powerful lessons that I was gifted with when I used to be on the phone selling Sky telephone insurance to people that hated Sky was every no that you get, you're one no closer to a yes.
Mm.
And that was, I have kept that with me. I share that with my clients when they're like, this person said no. I'm like, yay. And just recently, a mentor said to me, you get the no's straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
You want the hard no's because then you've got everybody who is sitting on the fence or just waiting for the right time to say yes to themselves. So
Yes.
bring on the no's.
Yeah. Women and wealth. Are there any other kind of key things you see working specifically with women around kind of money mindset, around managing their wealth that really stand out to you?
Yeah, I think that the managing piece is really the last piece of the puzzle when it comes to building wealth. And I have definitely been guilty of that. I think that to start with, when you start receiving, actually, you're just concerned with receiving.
Mm.
And the idea about tracking expenses and putting your taxes aside, all of it can feel overwhelming and complicated. And so we would rather not do that. And I think that it is one of the biggest mistakes that we can make, because what you get is you hear of people saying, I've got a 6-figure business or a multiple 6-figure business or a high multiple 6-figure business. And it's like, okay, great, that's your revenue, but what are you taking home? How much are you keeping? And most people don't know how much they're keeping because they're not tracking at all. And so I think that that is really, really common.
Yeah.
Financial literacy amongst women in business is low, and that's because amongst women in general it's low. We are not taught that in school, and I think that many of the women that come into business, they look at their course and they're selling a course. They're not looking at their course as their company or building a business, and so it's a different mindset.
Yeah. I often see it's women kind of throw up their hands, say, "Oh, I'm just not good with numbers," or I just can't deal with the numbers. I've never been good at numbers." And it's almost something that we've been kind of ingrained with since the beginning that, women don't have to deal with numbers. We should have the softer skills and be kinder and gentler and nurturing. And it's the men that we're teaching to like go out and learn maths and learn sciences and, be out there, be brave, be leaders and build the businesses and do those things. And so it almost feels like it's, even if we weren't specifically taught, no, you don't need to deal with money and deal with that. it's just filters through in our society. So then as we grow our businesses, even though, like you said, we might be making loads of money and we might be selling many, many courses and all of our products, and we think we're making all of this money. And at the end of the day, you don't actually know, because maybe you glance over your books once a year when the accountant sends you back something and you're like, yeah, I guess that looks all right.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, one of the other problems is then we kind of abdicate that responsibility to somebody else. So we send everything to an accountant or to a financial advisor and just say, you deal with it all. And when we're not managing or taking responsibility for that money, then a lot of times things go missing. It just doesn't go well after that.
Yeah, it can be scary
Yeah.
what can happen. And
Yeah.
so I think that that is one of the most important pieces of advice, is treat your small business like a big company from the get-go.
hmm it's difficult for me because I come from an accounting background. So I spent, 10 years in accountancy before I really moved out to build my own businesses. So, I mean, I never really liked accountancy, but it gave me really great skills in being able to, understand my bookkeeping, understand my financials. I don't like to do it. And I have a bookkeeper that kind of keeps the day to day going, but I know how to look into it. And it just surprises me so often when people are like, oh no, I just can't do that. And it's just somebody else takes care of all of that for me. And even if, which is great, you should have somebody else take care of that for you once you get to a certain level, but you need to understand how to read the presentations. You should be having regular meetings with
Yeah.
anybody that's managing anything with your finances so that you can understand exactly what they're doing, how they're calculating everything, and how they're managing all of your funds, all of your accounts. Because even with accounting, everybody thinks it's like super cut and dry and it's either this or this, and there's no kind of gray areas or wiggle room, but there's loads of it. There's lots of different ways that you can classify things. So if you can stay in touch and make sure that you're getting the right treatment for what your goals are and what your tax goals are and your business goals are and your personal goals are. So having a good team that you can talk to and stay in touch with is really helpful.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'll just go off
It's
on that one.
taken me a long time to get people that actually knew what I was
Yes.
doing. And I think that I was one of the people that just completely said, just you get on with it, you get on with it. And people would get on with it badly.
Yeah.
And then my accountant would say, what the heck has been going on with your bookkeeper? And I'd be like, I don't know. And so now I have a bookkeeper who is worth her weight in gold, who is just at the end of the phone. And I'm able to say, oh, I want to invest in a property this year, or I want to invest in a number of properties next year. Like, what do we need to be doing? What does this need to look like?
Yeah.
And it feels very joined up between myself, my bookkeeper, and my accountant. There's still a huge amount of room for improvement on my side.
Yeah.
But it felt, I've said at events that I've run, but my bookkeeper, she's in the front row, she changed my life. Like, that's how
Yeah.
I felt. Having a spreadsheet that had my operating expenses, my how much money I'm spending on corporate tax, VAT, like having it all on a spreadsheet, just a Google Doc. So it's not
Yep.
even massively complicated.
Exactly.
I didn't realize how stressed I was until I got the Google bloody doc.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though you're saying, I'm not good with numbers, I'm not good with numbers, I'm not good with numbers, you know that there's a whole bit that you need to have awareness of
Yeah.
that you don't know. And that causes stress.
Yeah. And it doesn't, yeah, because you're right, it doesn't have to be some big, massive document that you're looking at regularly. If you can just have, here's the basic numbers I need to understand, and I need to look at my business, and then you can say, oh, why has my VAT increased so much or decreased so much? And
Yeah.
start to follow a little bit of trends. And it just, yeah, gives you that little bit of comfort to
Yeah.
just make sure you're on the right track. You know what's happening. You can catch things before anything gets too out of control. And then how did you find your bookkeeper? Like, how did that journey kind of go from knowing you were with the wrong people to kind of finding the right person?
Well, she's in a group that we are both a member of, the Money Bootcamp group.
Yep, awesome group.
So,
Everybody
yeah,
you ever need is there. Yep.
So I found her in there. I might have put a post out to say, I'm looking for somebody, can you recommend?
Yeah.
And up she popped. And
Awesome.
it was great because she understood online business. She understood what I was doing. She's really anal, completely opposite to me. She wants to know all of the detail, which is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Awesome. It always nice when you come find somebody that, because like you said, so she's in Money Boot Camp is Denise Duffield Thomas's kind of program. So it's all for people looking for like that money mindset. So she's kind of on the same page as you. She's got some recommendations, so you can kind of already feel that you're going to have some similarities and be able to vibe together.
Yeah. I was also looking for a profit first certified bookkeeper,
Yeah.
and she also is familiar with the profit first method, so that was super
Awesome.
helpful.
Yeah. All right. And then it's really great when we start making lots of money and we're thinking, oh, this money's coming in, all this money's coming in. And then we have to figure out, all right, what do we do with all of this money now?
Mm.
And it's great to have investments, and you talked about property investing. So another one of my backgrounds is in property investing. So I love real estate and I love being able to do that. But lots of people jump in and they think, okay, now I've got this money, I need to invest, and they instantly think like, oh, I've got to put it in like the stock market because that's where people invest, or oh, Joe at the pub told me that property investing is the thing to do, and they kind of follow the advice of just somebody they don't really know, jump into an investment that they don't really understand because that's supposed to be the cool thing to do and the cool investments. So how do you kind of pick your investments and pick where your money goes to make sure it's doing what you want it to do?
Well, I make sure that I am surrounded by lots of people who are way, way, way wealthier than me.
Awesome.
And so I am privy to conversations that I wouldn't have had access to years ago around what they are doing with their money. And it's a mix of listening to how other people are investing, intuition, and what I know, and really looking at, I'm not reading the financials, but I'm looking at what's going on in the world,
Mhm.
and I am making educated guesses. I
Yeah.
think that the one piece of advice I've heard from before I was earning any cash to now is to make sure that you don't put all of your eggs in one basket. And so for me, I look at, if everything were to go wrong over here, what do I have over there?
Hmm.
And where I am in my business right now, I feel like I'm in the position, and you can be in the position from earning your first £1,000, but again, my mentality wasn't like that. But I really am looking at, how do I secure my financial future for my kids?
Yeah.
And so the thing that I am most familiar with is property.
Yeah.
And for me, having a tangible asset that I can touch feels, right now in the current climate, with all of the craziness going on in the world, in so many, depending on what end of the spectrum you sit, there's so much noise about what might possibly be happening with the financial system. For me, property feels like a good investment,
Yeah.
because over 20 years we're going to get our money back.
Yeah.
Whereas the stock market, which I know less about,
Yeah.
I feel less secure in putting large amounts of money in there right now and planning my pension based on
Hmm.
what's going on in the stock market, when I think that who knows what's going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a good point, is making sure you understand your investment so that it's something that you're happy to look into, you're happy to kind of watch the trends and feel comfortable and confident with, and not just, whatever somebody else says to invest in or wherever you think it should be going.
Yeah.
And I agree, property, especially is your property in the UK here. This is a
Well, we've got one in the UK right now, and the rest are actually planning for the UK as well. So
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the UK, because we're such a nice small little island, property is, yeah, I think it's a great investment here in the UK, and probably other places as well. Because as long as using the right strategy and kind of especially having that long-term mindset of knowing over time property values really are only going up. There's going to be dips and troughs, which is pretty much like any most investments that you get into, like the stock market. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. You need to be ready to be in there for the long haul, depending on your strategy. If you want to be a short-term trader, it's got to be something you really love to do and spend the time on. So it's really making sure that your investment strategy kind of matches up with what your goals are, what you're looking for. So like you're looking to make sure your children have a legacy and they're secure in the future. So having that long-term asset just makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about, because I love to talk about making an impact, and I know you've kind of linked up with a charity. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about that and how you kind of work together with that to, yeah, make things happen.
Yeah, so the charity that I've supported for the last 3 years has been called Love Support Unite. And it's two women from the UK that went over to, oh my goodness, I can't remember the country. Oh, slap me.
Did it say Malawi on your
It
website?
is Malawi. I've been to Malawi. Who went over to Malawi when they had graduated. It was one of the sisters, and she worked with a lady who was looking after the young girls who weren't getting any food. And she saw the work that this lady was doing and was really like, we need to do more. So she built her own orphanage, and the group then have just done more and more things. So it's kind of 360 support. So they do education, water, health, and homes for their community in Malawi. And they are incredibly inspirational. And the woman that first approached me, her name is Gail Berry. I thought that she was calling me because she was interested in becoming a client. And so we were just chatting and I was asking questions and the charity came up and I was like, oh, tell me more about this. And the more she spoke, the more just enthusiastic that I felt about the work that she was supporting the girls to do. And so I originally got in, and I think it was just like maybe like £400 a month that I was donating. And then I did an event and I split the profits from the event, and I'd done the event. Well, it would have been 3 years this year, so but COVID, so we'll be profit sharing again. And then when my business does well, they also get extras, and it just feels really, really, a really positive thing to be doing.
Yeah, it's so nice, I think, to be able to kind of link in with having that positive impact to really feel like you're, doing something amazing in the world. Because I know we love our businesses and, we're empowering our clients, but it's also nice to just have that extra little touch and that kind of where are we giving back and where are we able to, make an impact oftentimes with people that aren't going to be able to reach the things that we have quite as easily. And they're not, coming from our backgrounds, they don't have as much as we do. So we can kind of give back. And especially, I love working in like the local communities where you can, especially with women, you can start to kind of raise them up, give them that kind of education that they often wouldn't get. And as women get more educated and more powerful, for a better word, in their communities as a whole increase and improve as well,
Yeah.
which I think raises the vibe of our entire world. So it's amazing to have things that we link to. It's a great story
100%.
as a way to find it as well, in that, just talking to somebody that has that inspired vision inspired you to have that similar vision.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Awesome. All right. Any other kind of nuggets that you have, or that you've seen, or that you've worked with, or you've experienced yourself in really coming to terms with having that wealth now? So, you go from, I'm building it, I'm, not struggling, but like you're kind of spending all that time building this business and getting to that level and being like, all right, now I'm going to get here. what happens once you kind of get there?
I think for me, what happens is a crisis of confidence. It's really like, am I worthy of this? Am I allowed to have this? And I think that that's where identity and mindset, and really knowing that, again, your value isn't attached to how much is in your bank account, and knowing
Yeah.
that, of course, when you're being of service and you're helping people get what they desire, you're helping to solve problems, of course you're allowed to get paid for that. And
Yeah.
you get paid very, very well when you're doing a very good job. And so it's really allowing myself to honor that and own that. And I think that it's more about the mindset than anything else,
Yeah.
to allow yourself to keep on expanding.
Yeah, and I find it almost happens, it's kind of like the same thing at each kind of different level of business that you reach. It's almost the same thing happens again. You have to say, okay, now I'm making 100,000 and I've got to kind of come to terms with that. Yes, that's okay. And then now my next goal is 500,000 or a million. And then it's kind of coming to terms with that mindset again each time
Yeah.
you get to each different level. It's not, once you've done the mindset work, you're good to go. You don't ever have to do that again.
Yeah, it's
Which I
exactly
think some
it.
people kind of see. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just keeping working on that mindset, keep understanding that you're worth it, keep that growth going. One really quick question. So I've seen a couple posts like this in the Money Boot Camp, talking about, is it okay to be a billionaire? Is it not okay to be a billionaire? Where do you kind of fall on that? Just out of curiosity.
I'm like, of course it's okay to be a billionaire. No, I am. I mean, I absolutely, it's interesting that these posts where it's like it's wrong really feed into scarcity mindset. And I think that, yeah, nobody wants to be a hoarder. Nobody wants to be Scrooge, like in their house, like counting their
Swimming in their money. Yeah.
yeah, like, of course, that is gross. But can you imagine the impact that you can make and that you have already made if you become a billionaire? You know, it's like,
Exactly.
and I don't even say, well, it's okay if you're coaching, it's not okay if you're Kylie Jenner. Like, I'm not, the principle is, of course, it is okay to
Yeah.
earn a shed load of money. And for me, one of the most important things right now is to have people like myself, like you, like our clients, who are heart-centered,
Yes.
earning more money than they have ever earned or even dreamt of earning in their entire lives, because money is leverage. Money is the currency that this world rolls around on. And so what we need right now is heart-centered, responsible
Hmm.
people who give a shit about more than just themselves,
Yes.
earning a shed load of money so we can do good things with it. Like,
Yeah. Because
really important.
I think that's almost the only way we can really impact major change in the world. 'Cause I often sit and think, oh, I'm just one person. Like, what can I really do? Like, politics are crazy. We're killing the earth. Like, all this stuff is going wrong. I can't do anything. But you can. And especially the more money you have, it doesn't even mean you have to like just throw money at the problem, but the more money you have, the more ability you have to kind of connect with more people that can make more of a difference, and you can really start to build a movement and really drive things in the direction that you want it to go in. And we want to make sure, like you said, that heart-centered people are doing that, because over the many, many centuries in the past, it's been going in a direction that hasn't been super heart-centered. And we've got so much amazing opportunity now with this online and internet world that we can jump in and we can start to take that anywhere we want it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
1,000%.
And I even think that, generally the more money we have, the more people it spreads to, because most of us, we have a lot of money. We start to hire more people. We start to spend more money as well, which gives more people jobs and puts more money back into the, economy. And it isn't just if I have this dollar, you don't have this dollar. So, I've taken it from you. It's just where we can really keep putting more value out there. And the more we have, the more it just is everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I talk about the give and receive cycle. And so we're looking for that natural pulsation. The earth is always contracting and expanding. And we do the same. We contract and expand, we give and receive. And when you can get the balance of that right, like that equilibrium
Mm.
is perfect. You don't want to give, you don't want to overgive, you don't want to
Yes.
overtake. You know, it's
Yeah.
as simple as that.
Yeah. Overgiving is a good one as well, because especially I've seen with women is that they feel like, they shouldn't, well, it comes from they don't deserve this money. So they think, oh, I should just give it away. And I
Yeah.
should just, everybody that comes to me and asks for money, oh, you can have some. And oh, I should pay for every dinner because I've got more money than you. But yeah, there does have to be that balance where it's okay for you to have that money. It's okay for you to keep it. You don't have to buy every one of your friends dinner and family and support everybody just because you've got a little bit of money,
Yeah.
and just finding that balance in there. Anything else? We're winding down. Anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, I think that's great. Maybe the only one last thing is just wherever you are in your journey right now, is just remember that it really takes faith. And when you mix that real self belief with action, then miracles can happen. So,
Beautiful. I love that. Awesome. Well, we will have all of your contact details in the show notes so people will be able to get in touch with you. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed speaking with you.
thank you.